So all those participants who are joining online, they will present their paper here. And once again, I want to formally welcome Dr. Kashif Hassan from MIT University, Pune. He's working there as an assistant professor. He was working with Amity University, Lucknow campus also as an assistant professor. And he has been a great friend also. And thank you, Kashif, for joining. There are around 10, 11 participants who are waiting to present their work, to present their papers in front of you. And we are going to start. And let me go through the order. Okay, so we are starting with Aziza Yusuf Al-Sidhani and Haider Abbas. You're there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so rest of the participant can turn off their camera for time being. So when you're coming for your presentation, for that time you need to turn on your cameras and present and share your PPT. I hope you know the time limit you have. Don't exceed the time limit, and share your presentation, Aziza.
Sarah, I have issue with my camera. Is it okay? Like I use only the audio?
So if chair allows that, I don't have any problem. So Dr. Kashif. Okay, Aziza, you can share your presentation.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, it is visible.
So, hello everybody. My name is Aziza Yusuf Al-Shirani. I'm a student of University of Technology and Applied Science, Salalah, and I'm glad to be here to present my final year project, which is about the leveraging data analytics to combine sustainable supply chain management and circular economic principles to enhance organizational performance. So this case study is based in manufacturing companies in Oman. So I will take you through my presentation. I will start with the introduction, review of selected studies. Then I will go through the methodologies and data analysis. Then the last 3 pages, the last page I will do the conclusion and the 3 pages for the reference. So to begin with the introduction, I will talk about the sustainable supply chain management. This involves integrating the economic and environmental goals of the company's supply chain strategy. So the goal of supply chain management is to increase a company's profitability while at the same time reducing the environmental impact to improve the well-being of domestic holders who are employees, customers, suppliers, and all those who are involved along with supply chain management. And then in circular economy principle, so many companies, in order to achieve sustainable development, they need to consider the operation of circular economy because this will allow them to reuse their resources, and the circular economy involves in 3 R's, which are recycle, reduce, and reuse. So it is important for them to collect data analytics to increase the efficiency of supply chain. And the last one is the big data and predictive data analytics types of technology that can be used to enhance their operation, to improve decision making process along the supply chain. Moving to the problem, here the goal is to determine how manufacturing companies can reduce costs that result from implementing supply chain practices. So Here in Oman, as we all know, there are a lot of manufacturing companies that produce waste, and this is because here we produce a lot of oil and gas. That helps it also helps to improve the economic growth. Also, at the same time, it reduces the pollution. The circular economy was used in this study because the study by the UN shows that the amount of pollution on the planet by the year of 2050, it might be very high, the planet for the human to stay in. So it is important for the companies to reduce their pollution level by using the 3 R's: they reuse, reduce, and recycle. So this is where the concept of circular economy came in this study. Um, Moving to the literature review, here I reviewed different studies, um, and the goal was to move fast and determine the relationship between the circular economy and sustainable. Then the implementation of data analytics in enhancing the circular economy. So I reviewed on this also. And then I reviewed a study about the effect of smart circular supply chain on the performance of the economy. So this. And then in the literature review, these are the questions that were asked. So do the circular economy principle and supply chain operation relate with each other? And the second one, does the data analytics affect circular economy embedded studied in supply chain? And the third one, does the employment of data analytics performance of embedded supply chain? So moving to the research methodology, the research design is descriptive. I did not build it from the scratch. So, in the population, they're all companies, manufacturing companies, which are operated in Oman. And the sample of the sampling approach um, was collected from the film from the manufacturing companies 50, and it was by random sampling. And data collecting using use the questionnaire by Google Forms by using PSS uh, and PSS to analyze the data. And the method used to analyze the data here involves the correlational analysis and multiple linear integration. Um, Moving to the research objectives of the study include the first one is to assess the relationship between the circular economy and sustainable supply chain operation, and to examine the impact of data analytics on circular economy. And the third one is to examine the impact using data analytics performance. Moving to the data analysis, demographics, 35% were having an experience of 1 to 5 years. This data are all have been done in Oman, Muscat, and nearly half of the surveyed companies had the below 500,000 Oman riyals, and the surveyed well, we went to the employees and staff members, and the respondents from the companies already undertaking various sustainability to innovative. And moving to reliability, I used 5 experts in industries and 3 experts in academia to test the validity of the research instrument, which was the questionnaire. And moving to the hypothesis results, as you can see here, all my hypotheses were supported by the data, because the piece I got was supported, which is 0.5, which is good, And that means we rejected the null hypothesis. So the numbers I got were excellent. And moving to the discussion the positive relationship between the adoption of circular economy, supply chain operations for manufacturing companies. The companies may strengthen their conviction and capabilities of perspective. It will definitely be reflected in sustained supply chain operations and also the positive link between the usage of data analytics efficiency in circular economy show the beneficial the investment of import of big data, as I have mentioned earlier, to be achieved and sustainable objective in change. And to continue with the positive bearing of adoption of circular economy in value chain and the supply chain performance contributes the confidence when it comes to embarking the circular economy perspective in the supply chain. And all in all, or to sum up, it may be said the companies holding trust in the perspective of circular economy principle may take the large and big data and the capability to achieve their sustainability goals related to the supply chain operations. And these are the references that I have done all my studies. And thank you.
Okay, Aziza.
Yes.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Kashif to have your views on this.
Aziza,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, congratulations for doing a very good study, that I would rather say. Okay, now there are certain questions which I have in mind, and as your title suggests, you are doing a case study of manufacturing companies in Oman, right?
Yes.
So is this the study which you have carried out, is this categorized as a case study?
It was?
Is it a case study what you have presented?
Yes, because
Okay, what do you understand by a case study, Aziza?
by my case study. What I understand in my case study, how to help organizations to carry out their performance in circular economy and in supply chain management. So my topic is based in two things: in liberating data in supply chain and the circular economy principles.
Okay. Now, can we move to your next slide, where you are talking about contents? So, content, right? So, as we see, you were talking about introduction, then you were talking about review of literature methodology, but in your slide, I never saw an hypothesis, and then all of a sudden, your analysis.
I can show you.
Yes, please.
This one. And
so,
all of them were supported.
Aziza, this is only in analysis when I can see hypothesis. So when you were explaining about your methodology, you were explaining about the aim and objective of the study, then again, you have a research question for this study. Yes. So we have never got answer for research question, and all of a sudden we can see hypothesis testing and results. So it was a quite confusing presentation, that I would say. So although you have included everything in your presentation, but the placement and the order is not correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And when do you propose an objective in a study? Do we propose it after methodology, or do we propose after a review of literature?
After the methodology.
Rest, I think, is fine. You need to keep in mind whenever you are presenting, because sometimes what we find or what we consider is that the person sitting in front of you knows everything. But sometimes we also get confused, because all of a sudden I was surprised to see hypothesis, and I was just looking for a research question and objective thing. So that you need to keep in mind. Maybe when I'll go through your final paper or the complete paper, then it may be a better thing what we have seen here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sure it's going to be better.
And what were the result? Because you were talking about different tests. Can you go to data analysis and all? So what all tests you have applied?
This one.
No, before this. In methodology section, data
Methodology.
analysis. I think it's slide number 8.
Research methodology, you mean here?
Right. Ha. So why you have used reliability and correlation in your study? What was the use of reliability analysis and correlation analysis?
I don't get you.
See, you have said that in data analysis you will be using SPSS
Yes.
version 22.0, and you will be using reliability analysis and correlation analysis. My question is, why you are using reliability and correlation? What correlation you are trying to find?
To collect all the data, and I think it is very easy using PSS also in collecting the data.
No, collecting data is altogether a different thing. So, but why you are using a statistical tool known as correlation analysis? And what was the use of multiple linear regression? Matlab, you have used all of this test for the data which you have collected. But my question is, was it necessary to use all those tests?
Yes, it was necessary to help me to get all the data that I needed.
Okay, let me make it more clear. When we use multiple linear regression, okay, fine. And can you tell the total number of companies that are manufacturing, that have manufacturing unit in Oman?
Actually, there are a lot, but I used like 50 companies.
Adida, the thing is that whenever we are doing a research, we don't use a statement like a lot. We need to be specific in our term and category. So probably that's why I said you did a wonderful job. There are few things which you need to improve, and probably you will improve in by the next time you are presenting a paper or writing a research. Okay.
Okay.
Chalo. Thank you. All the best. Amit sir, over to you.
Okay, Aziza. I think there's still some missing blocks are there. Even you were talking about big data, and I didn't get much from big data also. Though you have mentioned the term big data, but I can't see much analysis on big data. And I hope you will agree on this. Thank you, Aziza.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we have next? Okay, next is Manaf Muhammad.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Manaf, you can share your presentation.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Manaf, and today I will. My name is Manaf Muhammad Hassani. I am a student at University Technology and Applied Science in Salalah, Oman. And today my presentation will be about identification and assessment of public transportation service quality in Oman, the passenger perspective. First, the content will be the introduction. After that, review of selected studies, research methodology, and data analysis. And we have discussion on the key conclusion. And the last, we have the references. First, introduction. Transportation is one of the important things in the modern city, especially for the big cities, and the cities have a high rate of population, and transportation on Oman. The transportation on Oman give the mobility for the citizens easier and reduce the cost of transportation, and it will reduce even the traffic in the streets. The objectives of the study is to identify the service quality measure that regionally matter to the most of the passengers, and to examine the passenger experience with respect to the service quality of public transportation system differ based on their demographic characteristic. The researcher tried to answer the following research question. This is the research question: which service quality measure regionally matter to the most of passengers? This is the passenger experience differ based on their gender, and does the passenger experience differ based on their age, and even does the passenger experience differ based on their educational qualification? Some of the review literature I have, according to Mune, the ticket costs, the nature of the vehicles, characteristic of the short and scoop that help accessible to the client. And Rouhani said, emphasized that the decision of the public transportation is as a favored method of the movement by users in the city, permanently affected by the nature, the transport activity administration. The research methodology, the research design, exploratory and descriptive. Pilot study, some interviews and deliberation of finalizing the list of challenges being faced by the passengers frequently availing these services. Data type primary and data collection survey through structured questionnaire distributed by among of respondents in using Google Forms. Population, all passengers using public bus service in Oman comprise the population of our study. Sample and the sampling approach, we connected with the 68 public transportation users following the conveyance sampling approach. The data analysis, Prink's test, 2 independent sample t-test, and one way ANOVA using the SPSS 22. Based on the research question, the following hypotheses were formulated. First one, the passenger experience with regards to the public transportation overall service quality does not differ based on their gender. The second one, the passenger experience with regards to the public transportation overall service quality does not differ based their age. And the last one, the passenger experience with regards to public transportation overall service quality doesn't differ based on their educational qualification. So the data analysis, there are four subsections in the result section. Out of 68 response, we had 50 males, whereas the remaining 80 females. The most of presenters were age between 20 to 30 years of age, and furthermore, majority of them were either student or workers, employees. The fare frequency of the bus, the schedule, the stoppage, and availability of the internet, comfort and tidiness were considered to be the most important aspects by the majority of the passengers. At the first null, the first null hypothesis tested using the independent simple t-test based on the b value and it was rejected. The second null hypothesis was tested using way nova based on the b value, and it was not rejected. And the third one, the same. We had in the based on nova. Sorry. Yeah, based on nova and b value, it was not rejected. So the discussion and the key conclusion: the majority of response being male inducted that the females may be not preferring use of the public means of the transportation. So the companies need to examine that reason. Furthermore, the majority of them were either student or the workers, employees. That it hints that the certain of professional do still prefer not use the service. Companies need to continue engaging the loyal groups. The forward frequency of the bus, their schedule, stoppage, and availability of internet, comfort and tidiness were considered to be the most important aspects by the majority of the passengers. Transportation companies need to focus on these aspects per their state performance. Has been observed personally by the researchers that through fare matters the most of the passengers, yet
Manaf,
yes.
Manaf, you are reading from the slide. Do you have any other thing which you want to add apart, because we can read whatever written in slide and you are just going through the slides.
Okay.
If you have
okay.
something else to add, only then you can. Otherwise, we can read the slide.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I will explain a little bit. As you know, I said before that the passengers need to, they want to have best service quality and the internet and comfort and availability of the internet and the tidiness. This is the most major things that the customers need. And the fare of frequency, it's the most important thing that the passengers have said that they are good about it, and the company should not shift the cost by burdening the passengers, and they should improve the service of quality. The rejection of the first null hypothesis simply means that the female, sorry.
Relax, Manaf, relax.
Manaf,
You
it's
can
okay.
It's okay.
Okay, Manaf.
Yes.
So, done with your presentation, right?
I think I'm not done, but yes, I think.
Okay, first of all, relax. It's okay. It's okay to get nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
Now the thing is that Manaf, I think your topic was excellent, and I think this is something which we need to look into. So if you are looking about implementation of your topic, I think it was perfect, and the work which you have done is also good. But there are few things which you need to incorporate in the next research when you are planning to do so. The number one point, I would go point by point. I think you need to reframe the research question in a better form. Okay. Point
Okay.
number one. Point number two, whenever now in the slide, we see that you have proposed 3 hypotheses, right? And
Yeah.
it was, and when you were analyzing the data, you talked about null hypothesis. So as an audience, it was not clear to me which were the null hypothesis which you are talking about. So from hypothesis 1, 2, 3, you shifted towards the null hypothesis and all. So that you need to keep in mind.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is a common thing that once you have introduction, then it should be followed with review of literature. So whatever available literature you have on a particular topic, and basis on those literature available, you propose an objective. And for that objective, you have a methodology, right? So
Yeah.
it should not be methodology, then objective, or introduction, then objective, and then methodology. There is a sequence which we follow in a research whenever we are doing a research. Since you are in undergraduate, it is a time you need to learn all those things. Okay, a small aspect. Now, again, when we are talking about, you talked about the pilot study in this research, and I think this was a very good thing. But the problem with the pilot study was that you said in pilot study you did an interview with them, right? And
Yeah.
then in your main study, you were distributing questionnaire to collect
Yeah.
the response. So I was a little bit confused that why you selected interview in pilot, and whether there were some difficulties so that you shifted to a data collection or survey method.
To have the two, I mean, to have the two ways of perspective.
Okay, yes, Hanif, that's okay, but we will not call that as a pilot study. If you are using that as a methodology, so you will say that you have a mixed methodology approach for this paper, where you have interviewed a selected people and you have collected data from the daily respondent or who are the travelers.
Yeah.
Okay. Now again, when we go through your analysis and data collection, what we find is that the sample size of the data was quite small. So you collected around 68, right?
Yeah, I tried harder, but
now and then you are making a statement that most of the working professionals are or might not be using the straight transportation, right? Now the problem is that it is possible, it may be possible that the time period in which you were collecting those data, maybe that was a time when the working professionals are not going. Something it is possible. So whenever we are giving a review or whenever we are reviewing something, you need to keep this thing in mind. So this will come under the limitation of your study. Okay, we can't generalize the statement right now with just a sample size of 68. Okay, so I would rather suggest in expand this study. You can use this study as a dissertation that might be compulsory in your course, and then you can use all those input which is given by me, and I'm sure Amit sir will also give his input. Over to you, Amit sir.
I think good, yeah, I think good small study is done by Manav. I think you need to increase your sample size to reach to a certain conclusion where you can draw a certain conclusion. And because the sample size is very low, at least try to keep sample size around 200. Because if you refer some literature or any literature on the internet or wherever you are that literature is available, you say you see 200 is that mark. You should not come below 200, because anything comes below 200 will not give you very constructive finding. So that one session, I liked your topic. Because that is something which is very application based. If you enhance this study and do it with larger sample size, you can bring out certain conclusion. That's why your lot of hypothesis, you know that your lot of hypotheses were like what you have drawn, they were accepted. Okay, so there were no difference as far as gender is concerned, as far as education is concerned. But if you increase the sample size, there's a possibility you will find a very different finding.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
that is one suggestion which you can implement and bring out a very good application-based research paper. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Mana.
Thank you a lot. How to
Okay, just share your screen, and can we have Kavita? Kavita is there. Sorry, Tanushri. I think it's Tanushri. Tanushri. Tanushri and Neeta. Tanushri Gavit and Neeta Kadam. Tanushri, you are there? I'm audible? Am I audible? Okay, I think Tanushri is not here in this group. Okay, can we have Chaitanya? Chaitanya Gaikwad and Vijay Aher. Kashif, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Can we have Chetan? Chetan, I can see your mic is also on. Please speak, Chetan, if you're there.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Chetan, now it's your turn because we don't have Tanushri right now. So yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Chetan, just ensure that you don't have any other noise or someone speaking behind you. Should not come here. Okay. If you're
Yeah,
not ready, if you're not ready, just let me know. We can call you later. Chetan, your screen is visible. Chetan, you just hold on. Okay, mute your mic. We will call you later. Can we have Sunny Dhaliwal? Sunny Dhaliwal, you're there? Okay, I think Sunny is also not there. Arshima Subhan, you are there?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Arshima, you're audible, and share your screen.
Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Arshima, it is visible. Just go to the full screen.
Is it visible at full screen?
Yes. I can see Jory sir in the meeting. Welcome, Jory sir, for
Yes,
this online technical session. We have Dr. Kashif from.
Good morning, sir.
Pune.
good morning, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Sir, shall I start?
Yes, Arshima, you can start.
A very good afternoon to one and all. This is Arshima. I'm from Amity University, Lucknow, and I will be presenting my dissertation today. The topic is the dark side of artificial intelligence for industrial marketing management, threats and risk of AI adoption. My faculty guide was Dr. Arina Mirza. So artificial intelligence is an amalgamation of technologies that cooperatively enable machines to recognize, act, and learn at a level that is equivalent to humans. Another way of describing this is an arrangement that is always monitoring, setting, and good-looking actions to maximize its chances of realizing. AI is a technology that helps humans to make the mechanical tasks easier, and it enables humans to do their tasks more efficiently in a more easy way. And secondly, AI seems to be bringing forth highly effective human-like robots that are threatening to take over the world. This is also one of the darker sides of AI that is currently present, and we have to look into that as well. AI advancement. Affordably priced high performance computers are easily accessible, that is in the form of cloud, low cost high performance computing is easily accessible because of the availability of commodity computing resources. There are large amounts of data accessible for training as well. To produce accurate predictions, AI must be taught for a large amount of data. It is becoming easier and easier for organizations to create and train AI algorithms utilizing a variety of platforms that enable them to store as well as manage organized and unstructured data. And lastly, AI offers an advantage over the computers because it is quickly becoming a major focus for businesses across the board. Because of its competitive advantages. Suggestions generated by AI might help companies make smarter decisions that are faster. It is less time consuming. These advantages may include lower pricing, fewer risks, time saving as well as a range of other advantages. Marketing and artificial intelligence. With the increase of web and therefore redoubled usage of social media, wherever interactions, client searches, and sales from the seller took place, the promotion strategy changed. Since 2010, there has been an online and offline interaction that continues to the current day. Promoting is an entirely customer-centered market. And therefore, the use of technology for varied marketing paths while maintaining a customer-centric perspective is important. The foremost recent marketing trends are centered on technology like blockchain. Blockchain is a technology where the transactions, the computer transactions are recorded to make the transactional process easier. And blockchain, and the other is promotional marketing. And the promotional marketing is a platform where all the buyers and sellers meet in order to increase their proficiency. AI is currently the technology with the highest potential for.
Arshima, can you skip this slide?
Sure. The review of literature. These are some of the literature that has been conducted for the use of this study. Before conducting this research, these are the papers that have been studied. Hypotheses. AI is today playing a dynamic role in all around our world, the world, and in our lives as well. Whether we may feel it or not, it is most of the time found helpful and significant for us. But sometimes it may prove harmful as well. Like these hypotheses say that more people feel that AI can be harmful in some or the other way. These people, when conducted the research, these people say that they are still a little not sure about the AI because they have been into the They are scared about the facts that there might be a fraud, there might be a some kind of negative aspects attached to it as well. The methodology conducted for this research was mixed methodology, that is qualitative and quantitative. The primary data was taken from a questionnaire that was in the form of Google form, and 97 responses were recorded. Convenience sampling was done through the questionnaire, and the sample size was 95%. The secondary data, the literature was collected from appropriate articles all over the world. Aim and objective. This research paper is founded on the familiarity that AI has an interest in this technology among people of various age groups. Though it is evident that AI has enormous potential, few people are aware of the full scope of its benefits or how AI may be used to improve marketing efforts and accomplish all over the corporate goals. It also considers different ways in which AI can be used in various fields for the benefit of society without causing a negative effect in any other dimension, along with analyzing its benefits and in different marketing areas. Data analysis. While conducting the survey, 54% of the people said that they do not find AI devices helpful. And the second question was, do they feel that there was any harm caused to them because of the AI? And 94% of the people said no, and 6% said yes. And the last question was, do they think that AI can be dangerous? To which they responded that 62% of the people said no, and 38% of the people said yes. This is the discussion and a comparison between importance of AI and the dark side of AI. AI structures have a tendency to do higher than human beings. Businesses might also additionally get new insights into their operations, and it can also do duties higher than human beings in a few situations. However, AI's most significant limitation is the amount that has been spent into the process of AI. Some people cannot afford it, and secondly, they require a higher amount of data into the programming. So people might not have that amount of data that is required while processing of AI. And secondly, AI has caused better productiveness and the advent of entire new commercial enterprise possibilities for positive large companies. And the best example of it is Google, which has grown to be a key participant in a huge variety of online offerings, in the way to gadget gaining knowledge. And secondly, synthetic intelligence impact is probably disastrous until it's mild, used responsibly and carefully. As said, anything used in larger quantities can be harmful. So when AI is used constantly and more than it's needed, it can be dangerous for us as well. And lastly, to stay ahead of the competition, today largest and most successful companies rely on AI. Whereas there's a job loss threat as well when it comes to the dark side of AI, because according to a study, 36 million jobs might be in jeopardy, since they are made of extremely repetitive works. When it comes to AI, it is more efficient and it does not make mistakes, while humans are prone to error. So that is one comparison of importance and a dark side of AI. Conclusion. The use of AI raises an ethical question, because for better or worse, an AI system reinforces what it has already learned. While AI technologies provide organizations with a range of new possibilities, due to recent advantages in AI, which rely on machine learning, this might be a problem. Machine learning bias may occur if the data used to train an AI computer is selected by a human, and this must be constantly monitored. Whereas ethical consideration also must be taken into account by anybody planning to use in machine learning in the real world, because it can turn into a harmful aspect as well. And lastly, AI adoptions may be stymied by a lack of explainability in firms with strict regulatory requirements. Financial organizations, for example, must comply with legislation requiring them to justify their credit choices. And as a result of hazardous association with AI, there are currently few regulations in place that restrict the usage of AI technology. Thank you.
Okay. Arshima, right?
Yes.
I would rather say it is a very timely research what you have done. Okay, so we are.
You're not audible to me, sir. Hello.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
First of all, congratulations. I think this is a very timely research. And since we are into the era of internet, I think machine learning and artificial intelligence are going to create a havoc in the market and also in the academics, that I would rather say. Apart from that, I have few queries and few suggestions for the study. Number one, I think you should refine the language of hypothesis. Okay. The language is not as up to the mark, which we are used to see. Then when you were discussing about review of literature, you have mentioned about the paper and the person whom you have gone through.
Yes.
But it should be more about what are the finding rather than the thing. So machine learning came up with a numerous key findings. So what are those key findings that we are not aware of? Because we need to understand what is there in the literature review, what you are referring towards. Okay. Now then, when as our thumb rule, what we do is that after review of literature, we write objective and aim and objective of our paper. And once we have aim and objective, then we go towards hypothesis writing, right? But in your slide, maybe due to some confusion, you have included hypothesis before aim and objective. That you need to see. Okay, you need to be more careful about all those things because you have done a very good studies and these things just deduct your marks. Again, when you are talking about, I think you were talking about mixed methodology for this study, right?
Yes.
So what were those studies? What were those qualitative and quantitative methods?
So the qualitative methods were the literature that has been taken from the articles, the literature. Like I studied a paper from the 15th AI conference that was held in some country. That is the qualitative aspect, and the quantitative aspect.
But Arshama, don't you think that when you are going through a research paper, it will be included in review of literature rather than including it in methodology section, because we are not going through systematic review of literature. So it should rather be a quantitative thing what you have done. Okay. So doing a review of literature, available literature, it will be included in the second section, that is review literature. Okay. And then what were the geography from where you have collected the respondents?
So I made a Google form and then I made it live on my respective social media platforms like WhatsApp and Instagram and social media like this, and all of the people from my contacts and my known people, they participated in the survey. So total number of responses that I collected were 95.
Okay, so that's why you have included that you have convenience sampling method, right?
Yes.
So this is a convenience. You collect data on your own convenience by sharing. So don't you think the study might become biased because the socio-economic condition? So all of your friends might be from the same socio-economic background. So whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram. So don't you think this will be a biased study or to be limited to a very limited group of population?
So to some extent, yes, but there are some people who are a mixture of all of the strata. So I can't say that it will be totally biased, but yeah, when coming to that, a majority, yes, but some of the people are from different aspects as well.
Okay, yes. And Arshima, my final point would be that your hypothesis was not visible in your conclusion. So please go to your hypothesis section. Hypothesis and the discussion is not in sync, I think. Because the conclusion which was presented to me, it was rather based on the secondary research what you have done, rather than on the questionnaire which you have collected, right?
So it's a mixture of both because the research, the literature says that AI is it shows more of the positive aspect, whereas the questionnaire says that some of the people, 60% of the people think that that AI can be harmful. So it was a mixture of both.
Arshima, but we have not got answer that a male might have more knowledge about artificial intelligence. We also have not got answer about college-going students of age 8 to 25 could be more aware of artificial intelligence, technical graduates. So out of all these 7 hypotheses which you have proposed, I have not got any answers of this.
So the reason being because it might have increased the number of slides. So that is the reason I summed it up.
But Arshima, since as a rule, when you are putting up something in your slide, we need an answer for that question.
Got it.
Okay. So the rest is fine. You did a fabulous job. Your research findings are important. You need to build up on this research, and you need to include all those points which I have suggested, and maybe which Amit sir will also suggest. Okay. Thank you. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Ashima, good topic. Can you come to your methodology? You are mentioning here qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so I can easily see that you have used this Google Forms survey. But what about qualitative? Okay, can you elaborate more on the qualitative part of your study?
Sure, sir. As I mentioned, sir, the qualitative part, according to me, was the papers and the literature that I have taken from the web. That is the articles, the research papers that I have referred to. That is the qualitative aspect of the study.
So can you differentiate between literature review and qualitative study like analysis or what you have done? Can you differentiate between literature review and qualitative?
So differentiation in the sense, so see, the qualitative aspect, literature review contains the there has to be mentioned that the papers that we have taken into account, correct? So these were the papers that I mentioned in the qualitative as well. So there's not much of a difference, but yeah, that's all.
So one suggestion, Ashima,
Yes,
after you complete your presentation from here, just go and read more about literature review and also qualitative studies, qualitative analysis. Okay.
Okay, sure.
It's a suggestion. Take this as a suggestion. Read more about literature review and find out the difference between qualitative analysis, content, whatever you are mentioning here, and literature review. Because you are mentioning it in your presentation that you have used qualitative technique. But I cannot, from your presentation, I cannot see any qualitative part.
Okay,
and what you are mentioning, it is coming to me as a literature review that you have referred those articles or papers. So maybe I need more clarity, or maybe you need to find out the difference between the literature review and whatever qualitative analysis you have done. So take it as a suggestion. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Can we have Tanushri? And share your screen, Ashima. Tanushri is there?
So you're on mute.
Tanushri, you are there? Tanushri Gavit? Okay. Can I have Chaitanya? Chaitanya Gaikwad. Chaitanya Gaikwad, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Please share your screen. And I want after this Sunny and Tanushri, you should be ready with your presentation. Chaitanya, share your screen.
Yes, sir. We are sharing.
Chaitanya, any problem? If you're facing any problem, don't waste our time. Okay, you need to be ready. I have given you a lot of time.
We
If
are
you're
ready.
not ready, just let me know. Okay, we can move to next
Sir,
participants.
we are ready, sir.
So please share your screen.
Our screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible, but you need to open your presentation.
Is it visible now?
Not yet. Yes, it is. It is visible. Go on full screen. Slide share.
So our topic is career choice trends amongst graduating students
Uh,
post-pandemic study.
Chaitanya, go on full screen. Go to slideshow. Slideshow. Yes, yes. Now you can start.
Our topic is career choice trends amongst graduating students post-pandemic study. Introduction. Human is an intellectually and mentally fickle creature. It is not possible to predict how he will respond to it. Different things affect his way of thinking. He makes decisions accordingly. In the last 2 years, the corona crisis has taken its toll on many. Many have lost their jobs. Some have left their previous business and started new ones. Has there been a change in the previous career decision? This research has been tried to find out. During the corona period, when all the transactions in the world came to a standstill, only a handful of sectors were functioning. These include the fields of medicine, agriculture, and the media. The role of the media was very important. Even at such a time, the media was covering the events and situations around the world at home. Surely the students must have been fascinated by these three areas. So through this research, taking the field of media for study, what do the students think about this field? How much do they know about this subject? Do they know that in order to work well in this field, they need to have a degree in MA Journalism and Public Relations? Obtaining such information is also a task of this research. This research will help you to know if external factors affect the student selection process. What are the options for their career before and what are the options now? At the same time, by getting answers to the questions related to the media, he will know his knowledge about that field, from which he can decide whether he needs to be made aware or not. This is the significance of the research. Here are the objectives of the research: to find out how many students want to switch their field after graduation. Has the pandemic impacted their choice of career? During the corona outbreak, after exposure to the digital world, how many students became interested in entering the digital field and pursuing a career in the digital age? Try to examine awareness about journalism and mass communication as a postgraduate course, as well as job or entrepreneurship option. How many want to venture into startups? Next slide. Limitations. This research is limited to KTHM College Nashik only. Concepts. The name of our research is Career Choice Trends Amongst Graduating Students Post-Pandemic, a Study. Let us look at the concept of two words, which are, first word is career. Career is we can say, is a way which can become a source of income or a means of subsistence. Second word is graduating students. From the word of graduating students, we have been assuming that students who are studying in the third year of graduation of arts, commerce, and science faculty. Next slide. Research methodology. We have chosen survey research methodology for this research. Survey research method is a research method by which the researcher can reach the selected samples from the whole and get the information in minimum time. This method saves time as it collects information faster and is less costly. No other research method presents the characteristics of a large body as accurately as this survey research method does. Also, this research method is flexible and we can use it in a way that complements our research. For this, it has different subtypes which include online surveys, email surveys, social media surveys, paper surveys, face-to-face survey, and survey. We had chosen the subtype of online survey in which we created a Google form and sent it to the respondents. 91 respondents we have chosen randomly. Now, data analysis. We asked some questions to students to gather information for this research. Here is an analysis of some of the selected questions. Our first question was asked that during pandemic, have they completed any extracurricular courses other than traditional degree? In answer, we get student feedback indicates that 70% of the students did not take any extracurricular course and 30% of the students did. It include photography, photo video editing, stock market, makeup artist, tally typing, Google certificate courses, VFX animation courses, computer language courses, cake making courses in it. Then we asked if they wanted to pursue higher education after graduation. In the answer of this question, 82.4% students said yes and remaining 17.6% answered no. The information is shown in the graphics. Next question is, we have asked next question. Do you know that to become a media person or a journalist, post-graduation degree of journalism and mass communication is required? Then we get an answer like result is 67% are aware about that journalism degree matters and 33% were not aware about it. We can see in the chart. Next question we have asked that have you made any digital content during pandemic? In 57% respondents were making digital content during pandemic and rest answered no. Now among them who answered yes, most of them selected the options of reels and on the second number is YouTube video, blog, animation are respectively on the same level and Facebook video has very few responses. Next, we have asked that whether do they wish to make career in digital world, and the result is very positive. Almost 80% students wish to make career in digital world, and the rest 19% said no. Then students were asked if they wanted to earn money after graduation, and if so, how. And some options were been given them. We can see its report in the chat. Almost 95% students have said yes to start earning. And here are types of students, which way students to start earning. The chart is clearly shows that 95% respondents wish to start earning after completing graduation, and only 4% said no. Among the students who said yes or have wished to do, 60.4% selected to do a job, and remaining we can show in the graphics. Next, some questions were related about digital startups. In them, we asked whether they know what digital startup is. If yes, can they give any example of it? And do they wish to start a startup by own? Do they have any plan about digital startup in their mind? See the following charts.
Skip.
Last question, sir.
Next slide.
Conclusion. Students want to pursue higher education after the pandemic. Most students are aware that journalism and mass communication degree is necessary to work in media field skillfully. The trend of making digital content is growing. Most of the students want to do job after graduation. The trend of digital startup is also growing, and many of them want to start a startup. Corona pandemic has affected the decision-making process of the students. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So you are Prachi, right? That's Chaitanya. Your name? Chaitanya. Okay. Now the point which you need to improve is that you need to rephrase the objective thing. Okay. So the language what you have used in objective should be reframed. Number one. Okay. Number two, what was the method which you were using for this research?
Survey method.
Survey method को कौन सा method कहते हैं?
Quantitative method. Quantitative method.
Quantitative. So you should write quantitative method there. Okay.
Yeah.
Rather than using, when you are talking about methodology, you need to include quantitative. Now the question, the survey which you collected, you said you collected from all the extremes. So it was not only from journalism school, rather than it was from science, arts, and other background also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have a question where you are asking, do they want to go for journalism and are they interested in digital content method, right?
Yeah.
There is a question ki jahan par you have asked ki, are you interested in digital content?
Yeah, we have asked
as a career option.
Yeah.
So do you think a person who is pursuing math would be interested in digital content? Or someone who is pursuing zoology or BBA or something like that. And again, when you are talking about the digital content, so we all have our account on Instagram and social media. Sometimes it is just for fun why we are creating a content.
Sir, most students have Instagram accounts. You said right, but many of them does not create reels or only they post photos or only they like, but they don't create any reels or. Therefore, we have asked students that they made a reel or during pandemic.
Okay.
Therefore, we got result positive.
Okay, and do you think ki a mass communication, मतलब a post graduation degree is necessary for journalism, for joining a journalism organization?
Yeah, it is must.
It is must. Pakka? Are you sure?
But we are asking to students if they know it is must or not.
You are a mass comm student, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that a postgraduate degree is necessary to join in a media house?
Students who want to become a cameraman, it is not necessary, but while we have to be, we want to be a journalist, it is must.
But don't you think that there are many people who don't have a degree, and especially when you are talking about digital content creation, so you don't need a degree, because anyone with a mobile phone, they are a content creator now. And then there is a concept of citizen journalism, which is quite visible. So still, do you think you need a post graduation degree for journalism?
It gives perspective.
Okay. Okay, fine. Over to you, Amit sir.
Okay, thank you, Chaitanya. Can we have Tanushri? We need to go fast because our time is very less.
How many students are left, Amit sir?
I think 4 or 5 more to go. Can we have Tanushri? Okay, so Sunny Dhaliwal. Can we have Sunny Dhaliwal? Okay, Mantasha, you can share your presentation.
Sure, sir. So is it visible?
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. So my topic for the research is a comparative study on the advertising campaigns by Burger King and McDonald's. I was guided by Ma'am Asha Adhikari. So, introduction. The battle between McDonald's Corporation and Burger King is one of the greatest rivalries in American business history, comparable to the PepsiCo and versus the Coca-Cola company, or namely that Ford Motor Company versus the General Motor Company. For about more than 60 years, McDonald's have been the trailblazer that set the standard by which all the other franchisees operated. But there are signs those roles may be reversing. A revitalized Burger King is forcing McDonald's to adjust to it, not the other way around. So the McDonald's and Burger King started in the franchisee food business in 1955 and 1954 respectively. McDonald's has always been the larger company, but each firm has unquestionably influenced the other throughout their 6-decade plus rivalry. And as you know, McDonald's versus Burger King is one of the legendary brand wars that last for generations, ever since Richard and modest McDonald's paved the way for fast food companies to conquer the hearts of the consumers.
Mantasha, your presentation is not moving.
So it's an introduction only.
Yeah, just see that. It's not okay.
So it's the introduction slide only.
Okay, then you need to move fast, Mantasha.
Yeah, sure, sir. These were the 2 ads that I took for the comparative study. These 2 ads were added in the questionnaire as well. After the links were added in the questionnaire so that people can go through the ads and then fill the form. Then major literature review. The major literature that have been reviewed are from these three papers and the website, the articles. In this, they majorly talked about their early history and the strategies by McDonald's, like maximizing their McDonald's strategies were like maximizing their marketing, then doubling down the 3 Ds, that are they building on the digital foundation by enhancing the digital platform that provide more personal, more convenient and better experience. Then going on to the starting point and momentum and delivery, and they are prioritizing key actions to continue growth, including integration delivery into the global mobile app. Then they have this defining the future of the drive-through, an area where they already have a significant advantage, as nearly 65% of their global restaurants have a drive-through, and they are even planning to extend this leadership by continuing to make the customer experience even faster. Then is their pricing strategy. Like a look at McD's menu indicates that a company has targeted mass market in India, because all or most of the products have been priced in such a way that average Indian customers can afford to enjoy fast food with family. Then they have talked about the strategies by Burger King. That is, the growth of Burger King is something that all of us should closely study. Like they started from offering.
Skip this slide.
Yes, sir.
Skip this slide. Yes.
Then the objective of my study was to analyze the ad campaigns of Burger King and McD, and also the studying the effectiveness of strategies used by both the brands. The methodology which I used was a quantitative methodology. Primary and secondary sources of data, collection of data was done. Primary was the survey which I have done through the Google form questionnaire, and the secondary was the literature review and the articles that I went through on the net. The sample size was 130, and it was done on the convenience sampling basis. These are the data analysis. These are the few questions that have been put into my questionnaires. After attaching the links of those two ads, I've been asking people that have they seen these ads before or not. And the McD one got the most responses with 57.1% of the majority voting for it, and Burger King with the lesser amount. Then asking them about the creativity approach, and in this also the McD is leading with 70.1% of votes. Then coming to the frequency of the ad campaigns, the people are being exposed to is more of McDonald's as of Burger King, because the daily ratio is 15.1 for McD and 7.9 for Burger King, and rarely is of 10.3 of McD and 26% of Burger King. So it is clear that people are getting exposed of the McDonald's advertisements and things more oftenly as compared to Burger King. Then coming into the remembrance stuff, like of which brands ad people tend to remember more and like stays in their mind. And in this also the McD is leading with 74.2% of votes, and the uniqueness of the brand here also 71.1% of votes lands in the McD's trail. Then coming to the customer satisfaction and orientation of the brand, McDonald's here is also taking the lead with 74.8% of votes, and in the customer retention also 75.6% of votes. The conclusion being that in the survey that I did, all of the larger percentage of people were going for McDonald's as compared to the Burger King, and these are the many other factors has contributed to McD's success. But these like developing strong and efficient processes and procedures, and adhering to them consistently, and so customer satisfaction being the main aim of the brand, and also the entirely dependent on extensive marketing research. Like they have extensively and more detailed way they have studied their consumers and their behaviors, because no matter how good the advertisements you make, no matter how good the ad campaigns you run, but ultimately what stays is the customer is happy with their services, the customer is satisfied, and then the company will take no back. So Burger King has taken the lead in the stuff as compared to the Burger King. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Mantasha, can you go to your title slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By the title, I can understand it is a comparative study on the advertising campaign. So,
Yes,
I was not able to see any advertising campaign. What you were talking about are just two random advertisement. I think advertisement and advertising campaign are two different things. Don't you think so?
yes, sir, but I've taken these two advertisements to cut down the burden, because if I would have asking people about the advertising campaigns,
then you need to rework on your title, na? Because by title, what I was expecting is to understand the advertising campaign by McDonald's and Burger King. And what
Yes, sir.
I got was just two random advertisement of McDonald's and Burger King. Number one. Number
Yes, sir.
two, on what basis you have selected those two advertisements? What was the guiding principle or the framework for selecting that particular advertisement of McDonald's and Burger King?
So the viewership, like amongst all of the advertisement, these were the ads that people mostly recall, and I was also the one who recalls these ads more, and also I've seen the viewership of the advertisements, like how many views have they got. Because if I would have been asked, I would have been taken some rare ads than ad campaigns, then it would have been difficult for people
Again,
to.
Mantasha, you are confusing between ad campaign and advertisement. Those both are quite different things. So if I'm talking about the recent ad campaign of McDonald's, it is all about the American cheese campaign, what they are running across.
Yes,
okay, and again, it is talking about how you are making a meal just by adding 59 rupees extra for the coffee outlet, which they have integrated in their store. And
Yes,
on other hand, when you are talking about Burger King campaign, they are targeting towards the price sensitive. Right now, currently, if we are talking about this era, so Burger
Yes.
King is targeting more of, I think, moreover, Burger King was a late entrance in Indian market, and McDonald's have more visibility across the highways and the cities. Take number three, when you are talking about advertising, so you should have a common platform on which you need to compare both the product rather than selecting advertisement based on maybe people across India may they have subscribed to McDonald's advertisement or a YouTube page. So you were not talking about advertisement, whether you were talking about outdoor advertisement, whether you were talking about digital advertisement, whether you were talking about a print advertisement, that was also not quite clear in this. So I think a comparative study of the advertisement by Burger King and McDonald's would be a better title for this study rather than the advertising campaign.
Okay, sir.
And you were can you come to the objective? No, again, this is the analysis of ad campaign of Burger King and McDonald's and studying the effectiveness of strategies. So again, campaign is missing in this study. It is talking about a particular ad which you have shared the link. So I would rather say your intention was quite right, but over the time you have missed the target. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Mantasha, and we would love to see you on camera. So all participants who are sharing or who are presenting their presentation or speaking to the chair, they need to turn on your cameras. Okay. Can we have Anushka?
Yes, sir.
You need to turn on your cameras. So all participants need to turn their cameras.
Sir, how many are left?
I think after Anushka, 4 are left, but out of 4, 2 are not responding. So I don't know.
Can we just skip to the major point? So
yeah, sure, because it's already 1. And so Anushka, share your presentation and just come to your objectives or go a little fast on your findings.
Yes, sir. So, sir, my topic was exploring political marketing and its effect on consumerism in Indian scenario. For the introduction, political marketing is a process by which political candidates and ideas are directed to the voters, while consumerism is defined as a social force that is designed to protect the interest of the marketplace. So I'm just making it quick. Should I elaborate on this a little?
No, you can skip this introduction.
For my literature review, I studied this. I've studied a lot of paper, but this one particular paper by Harish Kumar and Rohit Varman, they stated that political consumerism in India emerged during the colonial period and was rooted in Gandhian ideologies such as Swadeshi. Now, one can fairly say that Swadeshi movement, co-opted by political and business interests, by far has been the epitome of economic nationalism. And boycotting food and goods also preyed on the vulnerability of many people, many voters back then. So we can say that it employed the Swadeshi movement employed to identify the socio-economic hierarchy in the sense of Indianness. My objectives here in the paper was first to study the political marketing, explore what political marketing is and its emergence in Indian scenario. Second was to study how it affected the consumers and analyze the ramifications around consumerism. And third was to study consumers' reaction towards the present political scenario. My hypothesis was political marketing has a strong influence in curbing the present socio-political activities in the nation. The methodology that I initially used was both qualitative and quantitative, but during the quantitative process I had my primary source was a questionnaire, but because the uh, because the number of uh, attendees that I got for the questionnaires were less than 100, so I felt it was a little biased, so I have for now kept it a little away from the findings, and I have based my entire paper through the analysis of various case studies, political campaigning case studies. The 4 case studies that I studied was first Swadeshi Movement. Now, Swadeshi Movement, now for Swadeshi Movement, it clearly shows that the shift from seeking reforms in existing colonial political structure to move as far as challenging it in the name of Swaraj. Now, media here played a major role in the success of the campaign. The moderate envisioned politics beyond the parochialism, whereas the extremists, they had agendas to invoke cultural nationalism. It was then the moderates ceased to take help from in form of PR, different newspaper campaigns and debates. Now the campaigns and the debates that was reflected in the newspaper had helped a lot in curbing the perception.
Anushka,
Yes.
I am just interrupting you for a moment. So, can you give me a timeline for Swadeshi Movement?
So the timeline goes till I would say mid 90s.
Mid 90s?
Yeah, mid 90s in the sense, of course, before independence, it was somewhere around from 1901 to 1902 to somewhere around 1920s. So
And in which region it was started?
so it was mainly started in Bengal, and then it spread across Gujarat and Maharashtra.
It started in Bengal, and then Maharashtra was also a center. And
Yes.
I don't remember ki during Swadeshi Movement you have discussed about PR, newspaper campaign, and debates. So it is 1905 when
Yes.
newspaper are just coming up in India, and there are no PR campaigns like we use in
PR campaigns, as in there were meetings and petitions and conference. Those were held in the town hall with the political correspondents and the Mufassir leaders. So that can be considered as, I mean, in
So
comparison to the time.
because it is a very specific word when you are talking about a political movement, a Swadeshi movement, and then again newspaper campaigning. It is something very new where we are manipulating the newspaper, and at that time you need to understand the law and order and the number of newspaper which were available there at that time.
Yes.
So it started with the partition of Bengal, and then all those things were going up. And although,
Yes,
as per the history, Swadeshi movement failed to achieve its point over the time.
Yes, so over the time it failed because the extremists actually were successful in curbing or bringing the national cultural differences, rather. They were successful in bringing that, but initially when Swadeshi movement started, it actually spoke most about ahimsa and also about boycotting goods and everything. So at that particular point, it did put an idea among people that, you know, this can be done, but then in a long run it did not work. Swadeshi movement did not work in a long run.
Okay, next.
So the next was Jai Jawan Jai Kisan. It was during the Indo-Pak war, the campaign came into light, and it was phenomenal campaign for two reasons. That was, first, from an economic point of view, it gave India the economic freedom in the agricultural sector. So the green revolution came in, and they could I mean, as Indians, we could start having our, we didn't have to rely on other countries for the export of food. We could grow our own natural crops and everything. And from a social point of view, sir, it was during this time when farmers and uh, army people, farmers and people who went on war, they needed a lot of support, and that could only be done if the people, the common people, when were too informed by it. Again, media also played a little bit of role here, but what majorly happened is that Jai Jawan Jai Kisan in itself became such an exemplary campaign that not only it brought social changes, but it turned over the whole economic scenario of the country. This brings me to the third campaign, that was India Shining slogan. Now, now in the India Shining slogan, media again played a very important role in the uh, and media played a very important role in influencing people on the grounds of social, political, and religious segment. This India Shining campaign was adopted by National Democratic Alliance, and they highlighted their ideas and agendas to aid the middle income group as well as rural development. Uh, now, now, one point that actually came into my mind while reading this thing was that people behaved the way media portrayed, and media could successfully um, uh, draw a common perspective among all the political parties. So this media could not have had the kind of effect it did had it not been for media. And the third is India against corruption. This Yes, sir.
Anushika,
Yes, sir.
India Shining campaign was run by late Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the end result of India Shining campaign was not good, and the Atal Bihari Vajpayee lost the election. So again, it was not a successful campaign, although on paper it looks very good. So India Shining was a failure in terms of political campaigning whenever we are talking about.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
So my next campaign is India against corruption. This was a 2014 campaign which was led by Anna Hazare, and the campaign paved the path for BJP ruling country. The campaign resonated very well with the middle class citizen of the urban India and had a great impact on BJP. It began with the goal of establishing an independent organization, that was the Jan Lokpal bill. And I think the party worked very well in eradicating all the corrupt officials from the high ranking positions. And in fact, the BJP backed Anna Hazare campaign against Congress, while also working to improve their image as a party with a difference. So it was from this time that BJP took a route to adapt a much American style of political marketing, where it focused on the leader, and it focused on how the leader became popular among the youth and how approachable he is. I mean, that's how they had portrayed through the campaign. So we all know how that resulted in, and by far.
Anushaka, again, there are when you are discussing about India against corruption, and you are mixing the campaign of BJP in the 2014 general election. Yes, American style of campaigning was adopted by BJP and especially by Narendra Modi. But use of marketing and advertisement was started by Rajiv Gandhi when he was contesting election. Okay. And
Yes,
again,
sir.
India against corruption, when we are talking about, again, it failed to achieve its objective.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Next, can you skip this slide?
So for the conclusion, what I noticed that media mostly plays a major role in the political marketing system, and all the movement that has happened so far, all the movement was led by the campaigns that resonated with the citizens. So the success rate and the downfall of any campaign is based on the messaging, how it is how it is being connecting with people, and how it is conversing with people. And lastly, from what I have seen, that even though there is a small section that is trying to adapt to political consumerism, that is trying to not let the political campaigns tarnish their decision making, but a major chunk is still under the impression of what is being portrayed to us by the parties, the marketers, and the media.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Anushka. There are just a few points which I would like to mention. Number one, topic is very relevant, and the thing is that I fail to understand. Please go to your methodology slide. Yes, methodology. I fail to understand why you have mentioned mixed methodology. When you are saying when you are saying you don't have enough data for that, you should have eliminated that part, right?
Yes, sir.
Because we and audience, we don't know कि तुमने eliminate करा या नहीं करा. Number one. Number two, it is a classical case study what you are doing, and it's in fact it is a very good thing what you did. So the only thing that you are mentioning, you did a data collection, and then the sample number were quite low, so you rejected that. That need to be shared in a platform like this. Okay.
Okay,
so
sir.
you did a very good job, Anushka. That's
So I have not completely rejected, because in the conclusion portion where I have talked about, there is a small chunk of people. So I mean the 1% of the population, they are trying to adapt to it, which I found out through the series of questionnaire. But again, I would say that had it been in a larger way, like if I would have adopted some other method.
Anushka, but you need to understand that then when you are presenting a final paper, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the final presentation, and then if you are confused in something, it's better to eliminate that thing at all. Okay. Or if you are it is okay that the sample size is 10 or 12. So you can include that in your study rather than saying you have dominated by analysis of case study. Case study in itself is a very good method to come to a conclusion, and especially when you are doing a historical research, because you started with Swadeshi Movement and you came till India Against Corruption, and you were talking about India Shining campaign, and also you were talking about Jai Jawan Jai Kisan. So I think you did a good job, fabulous job. Rather, you need to improve into the case study module, and you can come up with a really good paper. If you just include a case study, that what were the reason for the failure of a particular campaign, or why a particular campaign was successful. That's all you need to add, and then you are good to go. Okay, chalo. Thank you, Amit sir. Over to you.
Yeah, it's fine. I think you have given relevant feedback. I would like to call Kavyanjali K. Jalesh.
Yes.
Kavyanjali, please share your presentation. And I want after this, Tanushri should be ready after Kavyanjali.
Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, Kavya, your screen is visible. You can share your.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic for the research is growing popularity of South Indian cinema amongst Hindi-speaking audience, a case study of Bahubali, Arjun Reddy, and Pushpa. I've done the research under the guidance of Amit sir. Introduction. To study the growing popularity of South Indian movies among Hindi-speaking audience, I conducted the...
Yes, I would like you to go fast. Just drop the important relevant points and don't go into the reading of the presentation.
Okay. Okay, so
Kavyanjali,
yes, sir.
on what basis you have selected Bahubali, Arjun Reddy, and Pushpa?
Bahubali was the first major successful South film among, in the North, and Arjun Reddy was one of the biggest hits of one that was remade from a South movie, which is a South movie. And Pushpa came after the COVID pandemic, where OTT platforms came in, and we
Again, then again, Kavyanjali,
yes,
you
sir.
can't compare all these three films. Because if you are talking about box office collection, Bahubali and
Yes.
Pushpa are good, okay? But Arjun
Yes, sir.
Reddy will not fall into this category because
Yes,
Arjun
sir.
Reddy was remade as Kabir Singh, right? Kabir
Yes,
Singh
sir.
was remade as a Kabir Singh, and Arjun Reddy never got released in Indian Hindi heartland. So
Yes,
I think Arjun Reddy is not a right selection in this.
Yes, sir.
Next slide.
The relevance. South Indian movies have witnessed like a recent rise in popularity among Hindi-speaking mainland, and that can be that is one of the reasons because of the pan-Indian success that have been emerging from the South, and the dynamic was not limited to box office profit, but of the plot and the new cinematic language. And the South film industry were the new flag bearers, and streamers carried them right into their handheld devices. And even before 2020, very few films South films were able to connect to the Hindi-speaking audiences.
Eventually, I think
yes,
you have missed the literature. It was during 1970s and 80s when lots of personality from southern part of this country were making a mark in the Hindi belt, and many of the Hindi films were being remade in the southern language. So whenever you are speaking or giving up an argument, you need to cross check.
Okay. So comparing the current rise, I was kind of.
But current, but you can't say that, because in 70s and 80s, and again, we can see Rajnikant, Hema Malini, Shri Devi, Kamal Hassan, all are big name in Indian film industry also, and their film are also doing extraordinary businesses. And then there are many films which are, in fact, recent film like 3 Idiots, Munna Bhai, they have been remade into the South Indian languages. And even when you are talking about films like that was on the rape and thing, Amitabh Bachchan was the actor there. Pink, that was also remade in lots of languages. So it is an overview, and moreover, the popularity of South Indian film can be traced back to all the television channel where dubbed film were being telecast.
Yes, sir. I included that point. It's coming.
Okay, next. Next slide.
The objectives. The core objective of the case is to find the factors that cause the increased popularity and the growth among the South movies among the Hindi-speaking audiences. The study aims to use the methodology of descriptive research and make use of data source from surveying people that belong to the demographic. And the study will focus on understanding the history and recent pattern among the movies from South India and acceptance of those movies among North Indians. The research data points along with the obtained survey results will be used to understand the key factors and patterns in the growing popularity of South Indian films among the North audience. The case study design. The primary objective was to come up with an initial set of hypotheses where I had a few factors like how these South films, the dubbed versions of South films were showcased in television, and there were many audiences there. And later on, Bahubali was the film that was majorly watched by the North audience in theaters. And then the COVID pandemic happened and OTT platforms happened, and many of the Hindi speaking audiences were access to South films very easily. So then after that came Pushpa, which was one of the major hits that happened, and that was also one that was very successful in the theater version.
Okay, and Kavanjali, do you realize that
Yes, sir.
all those films which you are talking about is from Telugu film industry?
Yes, sir.
And you have missed Tamil and Malayalam. And in fact, you
Yes,
have also
but,
missed the Kannada film industry. So I
Yes,
think
sir.
recently KGF 2 got released.
Yeah, released recently. Yes, sir.
So you can't say that as a South Indian. So you are more specific towards the Telugu film industry.
Okay. But then through OTT platforms, the other South.
No,
movies
again, but
that-
the basic criteria of your selection was box office return.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Okay. The initial findings are used to design a surveying
Next slide.
mechanism.
Hmm.
Okay. The movie is considered
Hmm.
Bahubali, Arjun Reddy, and Pushpa. I explained why I chose those in the beginning. Shall I go to the next slide?
Hmm.
Yes. Factors affecting the rise of South Indian movies. The first factor is TV networks. South Indian movies are aired on major Hindi language broadcast TV channels, and these are often the dubbed versions of the original South movies. And South movies from regional language like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada are screened on Hindi television channels. There are some dedicated TV channels that air only the dubbed South Indian movies. The increased popularity of this method had led to the channel to dub the South Indian movies 24/7. This pattern is followed by both major broadcasting houses and new entrants alike. Dinchak TV has been one of the one such successful venture. 2 years into operation, the channel has only aired dubbed South Indian films, and the channel is ranked among the top.
Please.
Okay. The next factor is rise of OTT platforms. So there are over 40 OTT, and they have a combined valuation of over 2 billion worth of business in the country. And OTT gained significant momentum in India when both ZTV and Sony Live were launched in the Indian market around 2013.
The next slide.
Okay. The next factor is multi-language format movies. Movies that are produced from South Indian industries and target an entry into the known home audience, including Hindi-speaking audiences. So multi-language success formula is used. These are strategies that make the movie appealing to a large audience. These strategies include placing characters close to the audience, like songs that emphasize friendship or catchy, upbeat dance sequences for a song, focusing on traditional Indian values and attachment towards mother and trilogy, etc. So the number of
Kavanjali, in all those 3 films which you have, which you are studying for this research, there are no
Yes,
Bollywood actors in those movies,
no, sir.
right?
Yes.
So next slide.
Use of technology. South Indian filmmakers have been experimenting the best use of VFX and animations in their movies, and this makes the movie more appealing to the masses in multilingual formats when native film industry fails to deliver at such big scales. One of the huge example is Bahubali series, Bahubali 1 and 2. And the production budgets are massive for the movies from South that target multilingual audiences.
Next.
Dubbing rights. Since South Indian movies enjoy a higher success rate in terms of conversions, they have emerged as a popular choice for movies whose rights are brought early on in production. These rights are acquired earlier in production stage. These rights allow the dubbing and screening of South Indian movies on North Indian TV networks.
Next slide.
Cultural factors. Most movies that end up having a huge success rate among the Hindi-speaking audiences are based on their storylines to emphasize taboo topics. Taboo topics, when discussed, are welcomed with curiosity in the heartland. The range of such topics can be very wide. The emphasis on bias.
Yes.
So these are a few facts about the survey demography. The audiences were Hindi-speaking audiences that I took.
The next.
And okay. The findings were that most Hindi-speaking audiences relied on dubbed version of South Indian movies. Primary factors leading to them watching a South Indian movie has been due to its storyline, and the category of the movie is also considered by them on a huge framework. And good reviews are also something they considered before watching a South movie. Very few considered the factor that a Bollywood actor is being portrayed for a good role in the movie. And over 2/3 of the audience have been introduced to South Indian movies through dubbed version of these movies on television channels.
Okay, next slide.
Yes. Conclusion. In this work, I have tried to break down the reasons behind the increased popularity of South Indian movies amongst Hindi-speaking audience. The descriptive research methodology was used to achieve the same. Data collection through surveying and a few existing research was relied upon to conclude. It was found out that the major factors leading to the increased popularity of South Indian movies amongst Hindi-speaking audiences are television channels based screening of dubbed South Indian movies, extensive growth of technology like the use of VFX, animation, etc., and growing popularity.
Abhianjali, I just need to ask a last question. Then you can conclude. When you are talking about extensive growth of technology in production leading to use of VFX and animation, do you think that this is limited to the southern part of this country only?
No, sir.
Then why you have included this?
We take the recent films. I mean, VFX and animations were used, but it's I think mostly
when you are talking about film Thug of Hindustan or many all of the films of Sanjay Leela Bhansali and things like that.
Yes.
Anurag Basu and all those things, they use VFX and animation. So I don't think this can be one of the reasons for popularity of South Indian movies.
Yes.
So if you have some literature to support, yes, then you can.
Most of the South films that were a huge hit in the northern part had the use of huge use of VFX and animation.
We have I think in Malayalam film industry only, I think there are more than 100 films which are released every year. And the last film which was dubbed in Hindi was Kurup, and which was a box office failure in India, Hindi belt, heartland, right? Even when they go out, and although some of the Malayalam film industry got remade in Hindi, but still there is a huge difference. So we need to keep in mind whenever we are talking about South Indian thing, we need to include all those 4 and 5 region to discuss, right?
Yes, sir.
So maybe you can improve upon this.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Chalo. Anything else you want to add?
No, sir. That's
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amit sir, if you want to add something.
No, we can move next because time is already gone. A lot of time is gone. Okay, Tanushri.
Yes, sir. Are we audible?
Yes, you're audible. Just share your presentation. You're audible.
This is the last student, or there are more?
I think there is one more, Miss Namita Pathak, if she's there in the, I can't see her name in the list, but
Sir, is the
yes, it is visible, Tanushri. Just share your presentation. It would be great if you can turn on your camera.
Amit sir, we need to wind it up quickly because my battery is dying and I have not got a charger with me. So I forgot to bring charger. So
Tanushri, you start your presentation and just come to your findings, your objective and your methodology.
right.
Start from your objective, methodology, and finding.
Right. That.
yes, sir. So our topic is RJ is popular in among youngsters. Because RJ plays an important role of conveying message with their good communication skills, and for that we as researchers took the survey. We as researchers took the survey for finding out the reason why RJ is so popular among students, among graduating students. What are the aspects of RJs, if they are speaking skill or language he uses? How many of them are, how many of them want to become an RJ, or they have fascination to becoming one, and awareness about training classes available to become RJ or related courses, and also what efforts they are taking to become an RJ. So
actually, we are presenting this presentation. Right now, I'm taking this platform to explain research methodology to you. So we are conducting this survey in KTHM College from Nasik, and we use Google Form as a research method, and almost we are took the 100 respondents as per our convenience method, and most of them are from last year graduating from arts, commerce, and science faculties, and most of them are aware about the radio jockey, what is it, and 70% of this. And 70% of students like the voice and the talking style about the RJ, and they are very much interested in, because as a RJ they are consider them as the idol, because in Nasik most of them social media handle was used by the youth by RJ is Rudra, and he's much more popular among the youth because he's spreading more social awareness. Even he is the brand ambassador of Nasik. So
Next slide, please.
okay, sir. So our findings for that, most of the youth are liking RJs because of their good voice, good speaking style, the presence of mind, and the information they portray to the youth. And when we ask youth about, are they aware about the training centers or any career RJ as an option, most of them are not aware. Even we are, because we both are interested in that. And I think we are recommend to that in India, in India, as a RJ as a study or as a communicator, the study is not available. I think we should have that as a curriculum in our academics. And our conclusion is that most of the youth are more fascinated about the RJs, And I think our recommendation is that the focus on the language is that the language they use actually it's not a very formal language, it's multilingual or bilingual. So language focus should be on the language, so that one particular language should be promoted in youth, and even when they are in their own mother tongue, then students will be more likely to visit or listen to the audio of RJs. And so this research is only limited to liking of RJ or fascination of RJ to the youth of TYBS. That's also. Thank you.
Okay, just let me know. Keep the survey were collected from the student from different background, right? They were from.
Yes, sir.
And they also wanted to become RJ.
Yeah.
Okay, so one is studying biology or something, they want to become an RJ, right?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the methodology? What was the survey method you have used? What type of survey method?
Sir, we use questionnaire and even some random convenience sampling as we visited them student because of some inconvenience here.
Okay, okay, thank you. Over to you, Amit sir.
Okay, I think only Sunny Dhaliwal is left, and he has not joined this meeting.
Okay.
And Ms. Namita Patak will not be presenting as she's facing some emergency.
Okay.
So we need to conclude this now. And I think we are done with all 8 participants. And Kashif sir, I have sent you a format where you.
Yes, I'll share it with you.
Yeah. Thank you, participants, and thank you all those who were in attendance. Thank you for joining this online technical session for the conference. And there are 2 more sessions which will be continued post-lunch. Thank you. IT team, thank you, Dr. Kashif, for giving your time and your feedback. We value that. And I also want to thank IT team and request IT team to close this meeting.